Well, hey there. Welcome to the Pawpaw Chronicles-N-More with Jim. Well, today what I'm doing is working with root trapper bags and grafted trees. This is a tree that I had grafted this year, and the Pawpaw cultivar itself is Chateau Rouge, grafted on the 15th of May. I wanted to put some of these trees in the root trapper bags. The variety itself is a variety that comes from Red Fern Farms. Tom Wall sent me the scion wood to work with, and it's the first time that I've worked with Chateau Rouge, and I have to say it took to the graft quite nicely. The graft itself was a modified graft that was presented by Cliff England that I started using. And I have to say I like the graft. It's friendly to use. With that being said, you know, root trapper bags and pawpaws. Well, it's been probably about 3 years ago I used 1 quart bags on small seedlings. The root trapper bag itself does very, very well as far as holding moisture. And what I found was the seedlings, through the leaf system, the moisture was not able to evaporate out of the bags quick enough, and it rotted the root systems out on the seedlings. And that year I had lost well over 90% of my root stock utilizing that system. But I didn't want to give up on the system because the concept behind the bag creates root mass. And one thing I've come to find, once the trees get roughly 18 to 24 inches tall with these 3-gallon bags, they do tremendous. And that's because now we're dealing with a bigger tree that can allow evaporation through the leaves and more room in the top of it, that your lateral roots can get the air that it needs. The bag itself has air hose in it, pin hose that is. It causes the cauterization of the roots to air prune, in other words. And they do very, very well in these 3-gallon bags once they've got some size to them. That being said, one of the things I'm going to go ahead and do is get this out of the pot and stick it in this pot. But it's not. The pot is going to be in here as I'm filling the bag up, and then I'll take the pot apart. And I'll show you what I mean. Now, a lot of people say, well, why don't you just turn the pot upside down and dump it out and set it down in there? I could do that, but I'm dealing with a grafted tree, and I don't want to do any damage or disturb that tree. And the reason being is that tree has been dealing with stress already, which looks like it's doing very well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the bottom of this pot out. And I'm going to cut all the way around the bottom of the pot. Keep turning. I want the whole bottom cut free. Do I have one more side? Yes, I do. Just like that. Now I'm going to take these snips and set them to the side. Now, I've already checked the depth of that soil on the bottom of the bag, and I wanted to make sure the depth of the soil is the same, or the pot is set inside at the same depth as what's this pot is. And it's probably, the soil top of this is probably about 2.5 inches. So I'm going to take my utility knife and I'm going to come on one side, get into it, slice it straight down, and then I'm going to go to the opposite side of the pot. Now, a lot of people say, dump it, man, that's a waste of a pot. It is, but you want to know something? Trying to save that tree the best I can. I'll just set that to the side for now. I don't want to really disturb this tree a whole lot. Now what I'm going to do is remove this bottom and set it over there. And now I'm going to take the pot and set it down into the bag, just like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a scoop of soil all the way around the pot. Now I'm going to turn the pot around to where I can work with it. Like I said, the pot is no longer any good, but you know something? What is more valuable? That, what, $1.20 pot, if that much? Or a $40 to $50 grafted tree? Which has more value? Forget that pot, in my book. Now, I have a 2x4, and what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to tamp the dirt down. Hack it in there tight around that pot. Without that pot being there, I wouldn't be able to do that. I want that dirt to be in there nice and tight. And now I got to get this other side. There. Set the 2x4 down, and I'm going to go around it again. I found that these feed scoops work very, very well when working with these trees. A little bit more right there. A little bit more on that one. Try not to put too much at one time in there. Now just very gently push it down in place to where I can find where my cut is on the pot and show you what I'm going to do. Now what I'm doing is I'm looking to see where did I make that slit. Right there. So we got a slit on this side and one on that side. Now let's get my blade back out. Insert it to where the slit is. Slide upwards. Turn the bag around. Slide upwards. By the way, this is a very excellent way to plant trees that you may buy that are inside of 14-inch tall one pots. When you're planting them out there in your yard. Now all I got to do is just hold the ball down, lift that out of the way, and lift that out of the way. And all I have to do is just, let me get rid of this top layer of dirt, open up the very top of the bag, or the very top of the soil a little bit to where I can get down in there to it. And we'll tuck in around it. This time I can use my hand. I'm going to knead it a little bit. There we have it. The roots are barely exposed on the top. I really don't have to put in mycorrhiza because mycorrhiza was put in with the rootstock when it was planted. But for good measure, I'm going to give it mycorrhiza. Any stress that it may have went through the mycorrhiza may help. Now, break this dirt up that I took off the top. And get a scoop of dirt. Put it right back on top. Just like that. Now something that I'll show you that I started doing this year is dressing. I'm going to dress it with a slow release fertilizer, just to give the tree a little bit more food source. And we're dealing with a lot of soil, so I can use more than just a teaspoon. There we go, more like a tablespoon. And give it a little shake. It sends that fertilizer down into the soil. Give it another covering. And there you have it. She's all done. All it needs now is just watered in. And, oh, excuse me, muggy. I can hold off on watering while I work on other ones. I could probably work on a good 9 or 10 of them and then water them, because the root system itself is still confined with what it was already in. Just something I wanted to show you that I do. Root trapper bags do extremely well when they're this size, the 3 gallon and this size of a tree. Anyways, my name's Jim. If you like what you see, subscribe. Don't forget to click on that bell for any notifications. Any comments or questions that you may have, I welcome. Y'all have a God bless day.